did your relatives realize they didn't know anything about your life? My entire family still brings up the babysitting incident from when I was 15 like it happened yesterday. 3 neighborhood kids managed to tie me to a dining room chair with jump ropes and lock me in a closet for 2 hours while they destroyed the house. The fire department had to come rescue me while the parents stood there horrified at what their angels had done. My older brother filmed the entire rescue on his phone, including the part where I was sobbing and begging to be let out. He still plays that video at every single family gathering while everyone laughs until they cry. Nobody ever mentions that those kids were basically feral or that their parents apologized for weeks afterward. 20 years later at my grandparents' anniversary party, and nothing had changed. I only show up to these rare family gatherings for my grandparents' sake, and I definitely don't share details about my personal life with these people anymore. My sister stood up during her toast holding her wine glass high. Remember when we had to call 911 because 3 8-year-olds outsmarted our baby sister? The whole banquet hall erupted in laughter. My aunts were wiping tears from their eyes. My uncle shouted from the back that I should never be allowed near children unsupervised. My mom leaned over and whispered that maybe I should stick to being the fun aunt who visits occasionally, instead of thinking about having kids of my own someday. My dad nodded along and suggested I look into getting more cats since they can't tie anyone up. Even my cousin's new boyfriend, who I just met that night, was chuckling and shaking his head like he'd known me for years. I sat there staring at my untouched dinner plate while my brother pulled out his phone to show the video to anyone who hadn't seen it yet. The party continued with everyone sharing their favorite stories about my complete inability to handle children. My mom told everyone about the time I was 12 and accidentally let our neighbor's toddler wander into the backyard while I was reading a book. My aunt recounted how I was 13 and forgot I was supposed to be watching my baby cousin at a barbecue because I got distracted talking to friends. She made it sound like the child was abandoned for hours instead of the 30 seconds it took for his mom to scoop him up. My other sister jumped in with the story about how when I was 11, I tried to give her newborn solid food because I didn't understand how babies worked. They were all laughing and toasting to my incompetence with kids while I sat there silently. My brother's wife turned to her husband and said loud enough for everyone to hear that they should thank God they never asked me to babysit their kids. Can you imagine the disaster if we'd actually trusted her with them? She laughed. The worst part was when my mom stood up and announced to the entire room that at least I had whatever job I was doing now to focus on, instead of family, since motherhood clearly wasn't in my skill set. Some people just aren't meant to have children, and that's perfectly fine, she said while patting my shoulder condescendingly, like she actually